Hey, welcome back. FMT100, section point 7.3 series. So you'll find all types of bearings. I also need to throw in a little deal where I noticed that I did not throw in on the bearing construction little things like the seal. So you can have a sealed bearing, and a sealed bearing is nothing more than it's already preloaded with grease. In theory, these are the maintenance-free bearings. Huge air quotes around maintenance-free. All right, huge. Or you can have open bearings. Now, open bearings may need to be greased, which you pack the bearing with grease, which is nothing more than a glorious, nasty means of rubbing the bearing in a grease, or you're putting it in a grease cup and then squeezing grease through the bearing until it's properly coated with grease, and then you put the bearing in install it so it's up ready to go. And typically from there it kind of goes into a sealed kind of area. If you're packing a bearing with grease and then just leaving it, kind of think of, for those who've ever worked on a vehicle, when you're packing the bearings for a wheel, goes in and you can't really get a zert fitting to fill it, and that kind of thing. Or you can have another open bearing, and in this case, the open bearing would either have go into a housing where you're able to pump grease in, or it goes into a housing or an area that allows lube oil to circulate around it. So if you have an open bearing, that means you are providing the lubrication for it, whatever the lubrication needs to be. And remember, you need to pick the bearing that will allow that lubrication, or you'll have a sealed bearing, quote, maintenance-free bearings, end quote, that is already pre-packed with grease, and you don't have to do anything other than install it. So what about the bearings, and what kind of work can they do? Well, they've got series, and that's their way of describing what kind of work can these bearings handle. So we've got series 100 all the way up to 400. Series 100 is extra light series. Think extra light duty, and this poor bearing really, all it does is keep a shaft aligned, and that's it. And it can take very light loads, if any, for it to do its job completely. And then we've got the light series, medium series, and then heavy duty. Where heavy duty, these are our brutes, and they not only keep everything aligned, but they also withstand a lot of load, and they do so without failing. Now that said, in a pinch, you can always go up a series. All right, so you can go up. If you don't have any Series 100 bearings, but you have a Series 200 bearing that meets the size needs of your bearing, you can easily slip in a Series 200. What you should not do, and I would say can't do, but what you should not do is go the other way. Oh, I'm out of Series 300. I'll just put in a Series 100 bearing. The lighter duty bearings are not designed to handle the loads, so they will basically self-destruct. They will eat themselves to death. All right. So you can always increase the duty of the bearing. You can never decrease it. So that's where I'm going to go with that one. So that is a little tidbit I hope you will keep with you as we keep moving forward. I know I'm kind of flying through this, so that is what we're looking at. Keep in mind, once again, you're going to get bearings that also have different bore sizes and different outside diameters within the same series. So you could have a Series 100, and you could still have a 3-inch outside diameter bearing that's a Series 100, and have that same outside diameter with different inside bore diameters where the shaft is at, and then you can have the flip side. So you're still going to get these full ranges of internal and external diameters, sizes, all in the same series. And you'll still be able to get sealed and unsealed bearings also in this series. Though I will put this caveat, typically the heavy duty series, the Series 400, for the most part tend to be open bearings where you provide the lubrication, and then the Series 100, 9 times out of 10, tend to be sealed. All right, so keep that in mind. For the sealed bearings that have grease in them, in a pinch, what you can do is you can take the seal, you can remove the side of the seal that's going to go towards a zert fitting. So if you're taking a sealed bearing and putting it in operation where an open bearing would normally go, you can remove the seal, put the bearing in service, but that open side, if you're just opening one side of the bearing, needs to go to the side of the zert fitting. All right, so another little trick of the trade there. So just a lot thought you should know, and we're going to keep moving on here.